Style. Now, you've got to develop your own style. You can be a student of style. There's about a dozen people that I know that over the years that if you knew those dozen, you'd say, hey, you know, a little bit of each of them appears in Jim Rohn's style, which is probably true. Not copying any one person, but I like the way the person said it this way. I like the person's gestures, because I used to be a little too stiff without, gestures. Frank Sinatra was the best, not for only his lyrics and his phrasing and his style, but his gestures. His gestures. They were captivating. They were part of his persona. So make this note, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Style, sincerity, the way you present it, heart, soul, from deep inside, commitment, dedication, wrapped up in your language so that now when you present it, hey, it becomes incredibly effective. Next is vocabulary. The better your vocabulary, the better you can share ideas that are meaningful, find words now to use that you couldn't use before. Interesting story on vocabulary. Some friends of mine took a survey among prisoners many, many years ago. Some rehabilitation program they were working on for prisoners. They weren't looking for this, but here's what they found. There's definitely a connection between vocabulary and behavior. And here's what they discovered. The more limited the vocabulary, the more tendency to poor behavior. Isn't that interesting? And when you think about it for a while, you can say, well, I can see where that would be. If you were very limited in your ability to comprehend because you had such a small vocabulary, that no matter what someone said, it would still be confusing. No matter what they said, it still might not make sense. They said it clear, but you couldn't see it. And sometimes that's because the vocabulary is so limited that it doesn't have the ability to register the scene on the screen of your consciousness. What if you could only see the world through this little tiny hole? You would be inclined to say, the world is like this. And all of us would say, no, the world is like this. This person would say, no, it's like this. How come they keep insisting the world is like this? Because that's all they can see. They're limited in the scope of their ability to widen their perception about life and what's going on and what's happening simply because they don't have the vocabulary to understand. So they started working on vocabulary. And immediately, behavior started to change. Being able to see, being able to comprehend. Oh, now I see. Oh, now I understand the reason why. And as your education increases, that should be one of the major purposes for education, is to help you see things you couldn't see before. Comprehend what you couldn't comprehend before. See a future you couldn't see before. See beyond tomorrow you couldn't see before. See, that's a gift. Vocabulary. So keep working on your vocabulary. Now here's another reason. Only with our present vocabulary can we express what's going on in our head, what's going on in our heart. You can't express beyond your present vocabulary. What if it's very limited? Then your ability to express what you think, express how you feel, is limited. So by a very restricted vocabulary, if you can't understand very well, and if you can't express very well, then your world becomes very, very small, and you only need a place 8 by 10 to live. So jot this down. Make one of the books very important book, and that is the dictionary. A word you don't understand? I think Dennis mentioned that earlier. Come to a word you don't understand, you look it up. Say, what is this word? Words are like lights. It's like another light. Now make this note now, especially the English language. There's nothing richer than the English language because there's so many ways to say it in English. In some languages, there's only one way to say it. In English, there's another way to say it, and another way to say it, and another way to say it. When I travel to all these countries and have to have translators, it gets to be difficult sometimes. Expressing something that makes sense in English because we have several ways to say it, but in their language, there's only a couple of ways to say it. So the translator has a tough job sometimes translating. So I've had to learn to amend and modify, work on my presentation when I travel needing translation. When I first went to Japan, I said to my audience, he was all bent out of shape. And my translator said, what the heck does that mean? Right? I can't translate that into Japanese. So that would make sense in English, right? We know what that meant, but in Japanese, how would you describe that? So I learned not to use those kind of phrases. My first Chinese audience, I said, he blew his top. My Chinese translator said, wouldn't look good in Chinese. With the characters. So, right, I have to modify and change and, right, poetry and some things just don't work with translation. Stories make sense in English, don't make sense in another language. So, it's interesting. It's interesting when you have multi-languages. One of Herbalife's big conventions, 35,000 in the Georgia Dome, 21 languages. Everybody in the audience has got these headphones on. And you hit the punchline, the Spanish get it first, and then the French get it, and then the Germans get it, and then finally the Italians get it. Some of them seems like it takes a little longer to catch on, but it's the translation. Some translations take a little longer to translate than others. So it is a challenge to help somebody to understand something simultaneously in 21 languages. So you have to learn how to present, how to do the stuff so that it's easier for the translators to make sense, right, of what you're trying to say. It's interesting. But the gift of language is so powerful, it's worth the exercise. It's worth the effort. Okay? Vocabulary, brevity, style, repetition, sincerity, saying it well. Here's another one on saying it well. Don't fail to say it. You need to practice. Practice everywhere. If you're going to give someone a gift and send a little card, practice making this little card something they'll keep and remember for the rest of their lives. Not ordinary, extraordinary. Not like everyone else, different than everyone else. It's the practice of using your gift of saying things another way until a light turns on, another way that expresses something heartfelt that the standard ordinary language wouldn't express, couldn't reach, couldn't paint these mental pictures. It's okay to give flowers, but don't let flowers do all your talking. Flowers have a limited vocabulary. Guess what flowers say? You remembered. That's about all they say. Flowers don't say, nobody in this world affects me like you do. Love. See, flowers talk, but they don't say that. That you got to put in the little card. Nobody in this world affects me like you do. Love, and then you sign it. And see, long after the flowers are gone, somebody's going to keep the words. The words are more powerful than the flowers. So don't let flowers do all your talking. See if you can't choose the words that are meaningful, words that are unique. And the more you do this, practicing every little occasion to say something well, every little occasion to say something well, whether it's a little talk to the family gathering, or whether it's training, or whether it's inspiring, or a little class on Sunday morning, whatever it is, keep improving, find a new way to say it, a new illustration, a new story. You'll get better. The gift will belong to you, and the effect could be electrifying. Don't fail to say it. Now, women are better at this really than men. Women seem to be able to find the language much easier to say something. Men have to work at it a little harder. So come on, men. Let's work at this thing a little harder. See if we can't say something meaningful that's, not just standard, ordinary. That's okay. right? But just think of ways. When my wife Judy and I parted ways, wow, that was a unique experience. I wrote this little note. Dear Judy, as often as the night comes, so does my sadness. As constant as the day arrives, so is my love for you. I wish for you and I wish the best for you, and I understand that dilemma. My life is here where you touched me. If ever you would call, I would be there to be touched again. It wasn't very long. It was just a few words, but I tried to express what was going on in my heart and soul at the moment. So I'm asking you, don't fail to say it. Here's an expression we've heard. Words are no substitute for action. That's true. Let me give you another one. Action is no substitute for words. It's okay to do, but you've also got to say. Express it, as clumsy as it might be to start. Start a better program of better communication, saying it better.
Chẳng thể quên khi cơn mưa đêm lại về. Em nơi quên lời thề và ta như đông chìm sâu. Không cần mơ em anh nhận màu. Em chỉ cần mơ là bye bye. Chỉ còn là những cơn mưa vô giá. Cho bên mơ em không mơ anh. Anh một đêm mơ. Chỉ cần bên em không được cần nhớ. Và chỉ có em không còn nhớ. Và người ta bên nhau như ngã tớ. Muốn nhớ về say em chỉ có mấy em ở đây. Và anh như muốn chết đi nhưng không muốn em mơ mày. Tình yêu làm cho ta đau đầu. Không em như mà mơ mộng. Anh như nơi mong cầu. Và mưa bên em âu sầu. Chào các bạn ba để mơ. Chỉ có bên em nhưng là khó mơ. Mà đang dài em một bên ai. Anh không mong gì hơn. Chỉ mong em sẽ ở đây ôm anh thật gần. Anh chỉ mong đôi ta được có nhau. Và đừng em đâu anh có em. Một đôi bên nào đừng có em. Ta sẽ trao nhau môi hôn thật sâu. Ôm anh cứ nữa bằng ngâu. Và em chỉ nằm đâu. Anh không muốn em ở đâu đâu. Một cơn gió thứ anh không mơ cầu. Mà không đôi anh mà bên giờ. Anh chỉ là my friend. Em quên đi bao lời hứa. Quên đi cả những ngày xưa. Anh chỉ là muốn chưa. Em cứ một chưa. Mà đừng ở đêm ở đêm. Anh nhìn một đôi bằng kem. Không như là ba chỉ là thêm. Cho em nhiều hơn như là kem. Chỉ cần là mưa thôi. Em chỉ cần là mưa thôi. Còn ai sẽ là nắng rồi.
Tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile